Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Combs.
Present.
Mr. Hinchey.
Present.
Mr. Luther.
Present.
Ms. Nelson. Ms. Sabacher. Mr. Stone.
Present.
Mr. Washington. 7 council members present, 1 excused.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Reverend, will you say the invocation for us?
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, I want to keep first things first, and across the heartland of America, the farmers that feed us every day, their crops are drying up in the fields. We intercede on behalf of them because if they do well, if we get a rain that improves their crop status, then we all prosper. If they do not do well for the harvest, it hurts every community in the heartland. So we pray, and all agree upon it, to pray that you intercede with some much needed rain for our farmers and gardeners and those raising foodstuff. Our second prayer is for the communities that have been hit by storms already, from Texas all the way through Indiana, Ohio. I pray, Lord, for the recoveries that are taking place, and families that are displaced, and especially during this overwhelming heat, many families without electricity and any way to be cool. We just pray, Lord, that you bless and help those that are under that stress. I pray, Lord, tonight and thank you for our continued progress in this community. We just had a very successful and safe Juneteenth and street fair. For that, I'm grateful for our patrons, and I'm equally grateful for Fulton Police and Fire and all of the first responders that provided security. And so I step this prayer forward now a week and ask you to bless our community during the 4th of July holiday. With it as dry as it is, Lord, every community must be prudent in the shooting of fireworks to keep the public safe and dwellings from catching fire. So I ask you, Lord, for wisdom and grace for both those who lead us and our neighbors and friends that live in this community. We pray tonight for any and all who are part of our city family that are taken by grief, a stretch of poor health, or it's just simply needing encouragement, Lord, in times such as these. We commend your Spirit to be with them. For this session tonight, I ask you to bless our administrators, our mayor, all of our council persons, those that serve on boards and commissions, and everyone who wears the emblem of this city. Please guide and direct the future progress as you have so bountifully our past. Let this session be a blessing to you, Lord, as these folks lead our city forward. For all of this and these, we pray together through Christ our Lord. Amen. Face the flag. Attention, salute, and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Privilege, sir.
And I'll see you Saturday.
You will see me Saturday. Hope it's raining on us.
Yeah. They got a big shed.
Yeah, good.
All right, thank you, Reverend. Now we go to comments from visitors. If there's anyone wishing to speak to the council, please come forward, give your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes, and the council will not respond. Seeing no one? No. Yeah, you're on the agenda, I think. Next, we'll have the consent agenda. I think we may have one to pull off of there.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if we could pull off item G, Michael Schindler, and vote on that separately. I am related to him, so I will need to recuse myself.
Okay, do we have the motion for that?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to accept the consent agenda minus item G.
Second.
Very good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Okay, now we have the remainder of the agenda. Any discussion on that?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to accept the consent agenda item G alone.
Very good. Seeing no discussion, all in favor of accepting the consent agenda minus item G, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Very good. Now we'll vote on item G. Do we hear a motion for that?
The motion that I just made, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All in favor of voting on item G for appointment to the Park Board, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, like sign? And that passes. All right, very good. Now we'll move on to the Director of Administration report. Anything you want to add, or? Do we have a discussion on any items on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the DOA report.
Motion's been made and second to approve the DOA report. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Very good. Now we'll have the financial statement. Lynn, he's not going to do it?
Well,
He just got here.
if I may, though, since, I would like to bring
Why don't you
Dustin
come on up and,
so everybody can see him. Lynn, we appreciate you. I just want everybody to see Dustin because it's been a
you want to
long time
introduce
coming.
yourself real quick and give us a little background? That's
Dustin
fine.
Doherty, CFO, City of Fulton. So I'm from Pendleton, Oregon. Been in municipal accounting for about 10 years now, I think. So auditing, directing. So yeah, excited to be here.
Very good. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
All right, Lynn, you're up.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. City of Fulton recorded 4 months of sales tax in 2023, and I stand for any questions you may have on the financial reports.
Questions, anyone? Will this be your last one?
This is my last one.
Okay, I thought it was. We certainly we're fortunate to have you, and you've helped us and through a lot of issues that we're still working through, but we're certainly glad to have you.
I loved it here. It was amazing. So thanks to all of the staff you have an incredible staff here at the City of Fulton.
Hopefully, you'll want to move back someday.
Working on it.
Very good. Do we have any further questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Very good. Motion's been made and seconded to accept the financial statement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Thank you, Lynn. Unfinished business, I don't see any. We have new business. And Richard, you want to come forward? Richard's going to give us an update on the fireworks display. And
My name's Richard Vaughn. I live 1416 Kingswood Drive. I'm here representing the VFW and to give you a report on our donation drive that we had for the fireworks. And I'm pleased to say that we have met our goal and a little over, especially with the help of the city, and we no longer need any further help from you guys, but we really appreciate what you all have done for us. And if you got any more questions, I'll try to answer, but
Thank you.
all, and we greatly appreciate it.
Richard, so the city's contribution will remain at 2,500?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Richard, has there been any discussion with the VFW of potentially having to move the event or postpone the event because of the dry conditions we're experiencing?
No, actually, I spoke with the fire chief just a few minutes ago. They're in touch with the people, the professionals that's going to be shooting, and they feel pretty secure with the operation that they run. They will be there on site to help.
Kevin Kofelt, Fire Chief. We have our full crew on. We're not letting anyone off on vacation. We'll do our normal standby there. The dry weather is concerning. I understand that. We haven't made a decision to cancel fireworks as of yet. We're hoping we get some rain.
What would be, in your opinion, the latest that a cancellation could occur? So we could, if that happens, we can get that information to the public and things of that nature.
I would say if we're gonna, if we make that decision to cancel, it's gonna have to be later this week to give the public, get that out to the public and they get notifications. You're welcome.
Council members, if I may, please remember tonight to turn your mics on before you speak so the live stream viewers can hear. Thank you so much. That's okay.
Kevin, is there an alternative date if this, if we're canceling out, will there be another date that the display will have an opportunity to?
I think it would be hard to set another date as of right now because unknown what the weather's gonna do, if we're gonna get rainfall, when we're gonna get it. So as of right now, we have no makeup date if we do cancel, but we will try to set something.
Yesterday in the utility board meeting, we are kind of having the same discussion, and John Bell actually mentioned that the golf course irrigates on a pretty normal basis. Do you know if the fireworks are being shot off, like where they're actually being shot off? Is it somewhere where they water on a normal basis?
So the firework display is gonna be shot off at the country club again, so.
So possibly a little bit safer just because the ground isn't as dry?
Yes, and we can go down and we have a brush truck, we can go down and wet the area down before they start if they feel like that needs to be done.
Chief Cofield, so I'm going to be voicing a concern at, concerns for the councilman concerns, about the fireworks and the dryness. I don't have as much of a concern for the professional people shooting the fireworks because you will have the fire department there. You will be taking the proper precautions. But my concern stems with the citizens who don't have any training in fire and whatnot, shooting fireworks in places that could start a fire.
Yes, I've had that concern. I have that concern every year, actually. Just, you have to just hope that they are being monitored by adults, and if kids are shooting, and being careful. I mean, we continue to put that information out to, the seriousness of the fireworks and the dangers,
And I'd also like to voice that I appreciate you and your staff where you're there to oversee and help with that situation. It's very much appreciated.
well, thank you.
Just to add to Councilman Hinchy's concerns, I know in years past that if community members are being inappropriate, that they can always call the non-emergency police department, just so that people watching know that, and officers will respond and assess the situation too, so.
Right, and I do believe even if we did cancel fireworks, it may slow it down a little bit, but I truly feel like that they're still going to shoot them. But we'll do our best to be prepared and
Only one time do I remember that they ever canceled fireworks, and I don't think it made any difference in people shooting them. They still shot them just as much, and we had just as many calls. I don't think it made a difference. Chief, do you remember were you here when they did that? I don't think people really made a difference. Are you all monitoring the sales? How's the sales running this year?
Bill Ledwig, Police Chief. I'm making daily visits to the fireworks stands just to check in with them and make sure they're not having any issues with anything. I've also given each stand a copy of the fireworks ordinance, so if any of their customers have questions about when they can and what hours they can shoot fireworks, so they have that information readily available right then at the stands. Sales thus far have been slow. They do expect it to pick up with Friday being a payday, and the closer we get to the holiday, they expect an increase in sales, but at this time, they have been slow.
Mr. Mayor, while both chiefs are here, I had a related question, and I apologize, the calendar kind of got ahead of me. We're already upon the 4th. But the last year, and maybe even the last couple of years, we had made some arrangements to allow for some small fireworks to be shot off, at the park and on city property. Was that anything that might have been discussed this year? And I apologize, I didn't bring it up before now.
No, not to my knowledge, it was not.
Okay.
We have not had any contact from citizens, and I actually put the word out asking specifically what you're talking about. We also monitored social media. We haven't seen anything.
Thank you.
And our ordinance still stands that you can't shoot any fireworks off in the city parks.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Okay, next we have Alan, and I'm going to apologize because I'm going to butcher your last name.
I wouldn't worry about that at all. Nobody else seems to get it right over the last 80 years.
Come forward. He is renovating the old antique store at 6th and Court on the west side, and he's doing a fabulous job. I met with him last week, and for a couple hours, and we discussed a lot of different things, but I think he's doing a great job, and he's here tonight to request a letter of support so that he can possibly get some tax credits from the state. Alan, you want to come up?
I have some blueprints of the project, if you don't mind sharing. Sometimes it's just good to share. Been knocking these things down quite a few. There's an old adage that some people make it happen, some people watch it happen, and other people wonder what happened. I fall into the wonder what happened. I fell in love with Fulton. I bought a place in Callaway County, and I find the community to be fun. It's friendly, it's warm, it's different. I'm originally from Chicago, and sometimes my nasal accent may carry. I don't have that twang. Moved to St. Louis many, many years ago. And back in '16, bought a place in Callaway County, and then had to come here, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week and have to eat at Beck's Restaurant. Oh my God, it was, and so I continue that tradition, just so you know. And so, but one night, my wife and I were walking down Court Street, and we happened to pass a building, and I said, wow, that's a neat old building. And I didn't think anything of it. The next week we came back and walked by that building, and there was a for sale sign on it, and I thought, that's kind of neat. And so when I say that sometimes you just don't know what happened, right, is I got into this, and I've done older buildings in Chicago. I acquired a building in St. Louis from Boeing Corp. that was just under 60,000 square foot and did a renovation of it and then moved our businesses into it. And so it seemed that all the wild and crazy other things that I've been doing, this just fit in perfectly. And the other part of it, you'd call it the antique building, and that is correct. But for a lot of the older residents in this town, it's always been the J.C. Penney building. And that was kind of an interesting thing. And then when I hear the story about the building, at one point in time on the second floor, there was a doctor office. And some of the neighbors in the area would tell me stories about going to the doctor. And the joke of it was, if you can walk up those stairs to the doctor's office, you don't need to see the doctor. And so, so those are the kind of things that are kind of fun when we talk about an older building in a community and coming in from the outside and trying to blend into the community. But so, to get to the point, I'm looking for support from Renee and Steve and you all approving their support to go after tax credits within the state of Missouri and the federal government. And the bottom line is, here's why. In order to make that project viable, potential income by itself from a future standpoint from apartment rental may not carry the building. And so we have to be creative. Now, just so you understand, going after tax credits, if you, anybody aware of how to go do that and what that involves, real quick? Well, let me share something with you. It's a nightmare, just so you know, just get that out of the way right away, right? And so, but what makes it challenging is you have to be able to fund the project from start to finish, and then any kind of tax credits that may occur are somewhere down the future. Nobody hands you money, right? It's not like I'm getting a check, here you go, right? It's credits that get applied to my income tax returns on both the state and federal level. If I didn't show any tax because I didn't have any income, I don't get any deductions, right? So deductions on this program can go backwards and forwards, right? And those people that go for tax credits that don't have enough income to support the credits to get dollars off their taxes, there's no benefit to the program. So you have to have a certain amount of income to play the game, right? And you have to have enough cash or capacity to borrow to pay for the renovation to take future tax credits, right? So it's not exactly a gimme, right? And so knowing all that, is Al willing to take the risk on this project? And it's called, yeah, but you have to understand something. This building was built by an organization called the Independent Order of Odd Fellows back in the early 1900s, right? And I don't know much about it, and I don't want to make any disparaging remarks to that organization, but I think it's appropriate that I bought that building and taking on this project because I'm truly an odd fellow taking on this project, right? And so let's talk about economics real quick. From an investment standpoint, the tax credits go from whatever money you put into it from a renovation, subtracting the purchase price, providing you meet all of the requirements, and there's a bunch of requirements that have to be presented, and I'll cover that in just real quick. I don't want to take up too much of your time tonight. I told someone earlier in a text I could talk for days on this project, and we don't want to do that. So the dollars that you spend over and above purchase price doesn't fall into the deal. You must put money into the project, right? And so that's where that tax bracket or tax incentive comes into play, okay? In this particular project, we're looking at spending somewhere between $1.5 and $1.6 million, and that at this point is a guesstimate based on the architect and their cost estimations in terms of what's going to take place. Total cost may probably come in somewhere, if we include the purchase price of the property, somewhere between 1.8 and $1.9 million. And so the construction part of it is the basement and the first floor have approximately 4,000 square foot each. The second floor, the same amount. The second floor will consist of 3 two-bedroom apartments. The third floor and what will now be the fourth floor, the building, the ceiling height in this building is rather tall, and so we're adding a floor between the third floor, which will then be, another floor will be the fourth floor. The third and fourth floor will consist of townhomes, so there'll be 4 3-bedroom townhomes, 1 2-bedroom townhome on the, what is in essence the third and fourth floor. So those become rental apartments. They have to be completed first before the commercial side, because this is a commercial facility. The first floor has to be commercial, rightfully so, okay? And so the other parts of it that make this project exciting, based on the stairs going up to the third floor, if anybody's ever walked that far, and there's an open invitation if you'd like to come by. There's oxygen available if you need some, and we'll just kind of go from there. But an elevator into the building. There has to be special egress to exit the building. It's amazing this building's been around all this time, and there's one way up and one way down, unless you want to jump out the window on the third floor. Not very safe. So anyway, elevator in the building. Egress added for extra escape routes in the back of the building. Sprinklered system throughout, makes it up to date. New HVAC equipment, new electrical, new plumbing throughout. So this building, for all practical purposes, we've taken an outer, we've taken the shell of the building, or created a shell is a better way to describe it. So we have a nice roof, we have nice walls throughout, and virtually everything else on the inside is going to be brand spanking new. So higher efficiencies from an energy standpoint in terms of what's available, and code in terms of all construction. There's no faking it here. It's going to be done correctly or not done. And so those items are significant costs areas to the project. The first floor and the basement are ideal for some type of a nice retail establishment that would be nice for an anchor at that end of the block that would support the brick district. And so we think that's rather important. It supports my journey coming down here for dinner in that area. And what's going to go into that facility at this point in time, we have no clue. And we have some concepts of what would be appropriate. Gary from Beck's offers a number of suggestions. And so the deal is to produce something that contributes to the area, period. And so going back to that Odd Fellows thing that I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a rather interesting project that I think is a fun project. It's a little risky. I've been an entrepreneur for over 50 years. So, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you lack wisdom. You need to get some better insight to what reality is, but it's fun. I've never had one go belly up at this point from any business that I've been involved with, and we're not starting today. So, any questions from anybody at all?
How long do you think this project's going to take?
Based on the current timeline, I think we'll be done by 30. I'm kidding, 30 to 2030. Kidding, just kidding. Just thinking if I put everybody to sleep by now. The deal is it's going to tie very directly to what happens. There's 2 steps in the process to get tax credits. One, you go before a division of Missouri's government on economic development, because they're interested in supporting, right? But they go through a trial testing, and they're going to check all the financials and the estimates and blah, 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 blah. And there's a scoring that takes place, and I won't bore you with that because I can't even explain it. Then it goes to the Missouri Historical Society, okay? That could be a 60-day process. Once that rock and rolls and they approve, then we start construction, and probably the goal is to have something done latter part of next summer, next fall, somewhere in that range. Good question. I wish I had all the answers to that one, though.
What's the total units that you have, you think,
Am I hearing?
what's the total,
I believe I'm 26 years old. You know what I'm saying?
what's the total units you're thinking about?
Total number of
Mhm.
units in the, between the third and the second floor, we're looking at 8 units in total. Not counting the retail.
Are you concerned about parking?
Absolutely. And I know the city is already planned on adding new parking. I'm kidding. That of course is going to be, of course that's going to be an issue, particularly if there's another retail facility on the first floor in the basement. Parking will be an important issue. It's already an important issue in terms of what's necessary to support Brick Street and that whole big district, if you will. Yeah. Now, have we looked at other alternatives? Yeah, we made an offer on a building not too long ago, and they didn't like my offer. I told them I was going to tear it down and use it as a parking lot. So, but we'll be investigating those kind of opportunities and maybe even engaging in conversations with the city in the future. Not that that would ever take place from my goal, but you can never tell, right? Any other questions?
I just want to thank you for taking these steps.
I'm sorry.
I just want to thank you for doing this and taking these steps and taking this risk on our downtown area. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. It goes back to that odd fellows thing, what can I say? But thank you very much. Any other questions? That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Did
I
you
hope
share,
that-
I don't think I heard it, but did you share with them how much your total investment is going to be?
We did, and that's a good point. The total investment will probably be somewhere between $1.8 million and $1.9 million total. I hope. I'd like to have a project that came in on budget. Has anyone ever had a project come in on budget? Okay, I'm just making sure we're comfortable with this. Yeah, I understand.
Are you the sole investor, or do you have multiple investors with you?
Good question. This past February, my partner, my best friend, my babe, passed away, and she was my business partner. And as a result of that, everything that we own is in trust. And now it's in 2 trusts. There's a family trust that my kids are involved with, and there's a marital trust, and I'm not married, but that's just, the attorneys make up this stuff. It's rather interesting. But so the owner of Futura Properties is now into 2 trusts. I'm the executor trustee of both trusts, and I have 3 children that are involved in the businesses, and so there's funding coming from 2 trusts, if you will. Okay, so there's no other outsiders involved. I've asked the guy that owned the Rams if he wanted to come back in good graces in the state of Missouri, but he didn't answer my request. So anyway. So it's a family deal. There's no other outsiders involved. And so, anything else? I just want to thank you very much for the opportunity. Renee, thank you very much. Steve, thank you. Council members, thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate it.
Just a question or more of a thought. I'm sure you're early in the process, but as you, I guess, have you picked a contractor, or do you have contractors that work for you on a regular basis, or you still got to get to that point in the process?
Actually, that's an interesting question. My main primary business is transportation. I'm in the trucking industry on one hand, and a highfalutin another business that we're in called supply chain management for the hotel and restaurant industry. We have a leaning towards a local contractor at this point, but we haven't quantified that at this point. I tend to be frugal, and so there's a process that takes place. Just like you go through processes, so do we. So, but whatever we can support locally, we support locally.
Excellent. Thank you.
Anything else?
Al, one more thing is,
I'm sorry to keep walking. on my
that's,
hearing aids.
I
But
completely
you know what?
understand.
What you get for this kind of dollars on hearing aids, it doesn't, you know. Go
Right.
ahead.
Another opportunity for a letter of support would be from the Fulton Historic Preservation Commission. And,
Actually,
and we meet,
according to the requirements from the state of Missouri, the letter of support should come from an elected official of Fulton. However, in the case of Fulton, a joint letter from Renee and Steve, in my opinion, would be extremely effective with the approval of the council. So you all get to participate in my opportunity. Okay?
I'd
Anything
like
else?
to make a motion that we give the mayor authorization and Renee to write this letter of recommendation.
I'll second it.
I said yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Kathy, did you get that?
I did.
Does anyone have any other questions? I spent a couple hours with Alan last week or week before last, I don't know which, and he is an extremely interesting guy. He's had an interesting life, and he's got a 38-acre lake that he stocks with fish. And he might even let some of us go out there and fish if we'd like. But anyway, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? You got it.
And Alan, you said that we could come by and see the property with you?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Somewhere along the line, before your meeting's over, I'll throw a card to each of you with my email address, and I'll write the cell phone number. So it's fun to take it through. And you'll understand when I say, this odd fellow took on this project, right? So anyway, absolutely, anytime.
I've been up those stairs many times, and you think you'll never get to the top.
Well, I should caution everyone that there is no air conditioning in this building at this point. And so
Oh, yeah? Okay, very good. We'll, I know we've got copies of that. I don't know if both of us. And we'll get that to you as soon as possible. Very good. Okay, the item C is a presentation of the capital budget. This by charter has to be done, as you all know, well know. I'm sure we'll probably look at some changes in the future, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions after you have a chance to look it over a little more, and we'll go into that at a future time. Next, we have the change of scheduling of two of the council meetings, the September and the December meetings, and this we do every year practically. So does anyone have any opposition, or do you have any questions about the changing those, or actually eliminating those two meetings? Seeing none, do I have a motion to do?
I would like to make a motion to adopt this amendment.
Okay, a motion made and second.
for discussion
To
item,
cancel-
Mr. Mayor?
What?
Discussion item, on the December meeting in the past, we have moved that meeting in December to kind of the middle of the month to allow for administration to finish the budget and a few of those things, rather than having that meeting on the very first part of that month. Do we want to consider that for December?
Councilman Stone, that is very much appreciated. However, it is our goal this year to have the budget put to bed at the latest October 31st.
Thank you very much.
You're
Ms.
welcome.
Tyler.
Okay, any other discussion about that? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you. Now we're going to have a preliminary interview or overview of our city audit. And there will be no action taken tonight. She is just going to give us an overview, and this is, again, preliminary, and we'll have in more detail at a later date.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Myers. Having the audit presentation follow Alan's presentation doesn't seem quite right, but I'll try my best. So, Lynn, do they have copies of the summary report in front of them? Or okay. All right. Well, good evening. Just real quick, my name is Amanda Schultz. I'm an audit partner at Williams Keepers in Columbia, and we have completed the fieldwork phase of our audit and most of the reporting and wrap-up phases. So tonight, I'll just be presenting a draft of our summary report that hits the highlights of the individual reports that we'll issue in the coming weeks as a result of our audit of the city's financial statements as of and for the calendar year ended December 31st, 2022. The first report will be the annual comprehensive financial report. The preparation of this report is a sign of excellence in financial reporting, as it contains substantially more information than that required by generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP. In addition to the financial section, which is the only GAAP requirement and the focus of tonight's presentation, this report also includes introductory and statistical sections, so a lot of good information can be found throughout this report. Because the preparation of this report is a sign of excellence in financial reporting, as I mentioned, the Government Finance Officers Association, or the GFOA, awards a certificate to entities for their reports that are submitted to and approved by that organization. The city has received this award for 24 consecutive years on its 2021 report and anticipates it will receive it again on its 2022 report once it's been finalized and submitted to that organization. So as I mentioned previously, the financial section of the report is the focus of tonight's presentation, and I will just hit the highlights. The city's annual comprehensive financial report contains the city's annual financial statements as of and for the calendar year ended December 31st, 2022, along with our report on those financial statements. We do expect to issue an unmodified or a clean opinion on the financial statements. Management is ultimately responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements. We did prepare them, the drafts that you all will have access to, are documents that we prepared. It is a common practice for us as independent auditors to do so, but they will be reviewed and approved by management before they are issued in the coming weeks. We did use our judgment in determining how to audit the city again this year. We performed a risk assessment process by looking at balances, transactions, processes, and controls in order to focus our attention on areas where the financial statements could be misstated. So that means we did not audit or will not audit every balance or every transaction, but we still expect to issue an unmodified or a clean opinion on the financial statements. The financial statements themselves include two different sets of financial statements. The first is the government-wide financial statements, which are full accrual and really put everything together for the city. So all of the individual fund information, as well as long-term assets such as capital assets and long-term liabilities such as long-term debt are reported in those statements on pages 12 and 13. And then the fund financial statements follow those government-wide financial statements on pages 14 through 21 and provide much more detail about the city's individual funds. There is a table on page 2 of the summary report that summarizes the highlights from the government-wide financial statements as of and for the years ended December 31st, 2022, with comparative information for 2021. The financial statements themselves are not comparative. They generally are not for governmental entities such as the city, but the management's discussion and analysis on pages 4 through 11 is comparative and discusses the changes in the various categories between the 2 years. We also expect to issue an auditor's communication letter as a result of our audit, and that letter includes comments about the audit process and its results that we are required to communicate to the governing board of an auditee, and this city council serves that role for the city. Just a few highlights. We didn't note any transactions that we considered both unusual and significant. There was one change in accounting policies during the year, which was Governmental Accounting Standards Board, or GASB Statement 91, dealing with conduit debt obligations. That was implemented, but it did not have an impact on the city's financial statements or the notes to its financial statements. There will be a new standard effective during 2023, which is GASB Statement 96, dealing with subscription-based information technology arrangements. So the city will need to take a look at that standard and see what its impact is on the financial statements. The financial statement disclosures are neutral, consistent, and clear, and as part of our audit, we made sure that all of the required disclosures to support the financial statements are included. We did propose some adjustments as a result of our audit procedures. There is a detailed listing of those adjustments included in our auditor's communication letter. We will also issue a management letter as a result of our audit, which basically states that the scope of our financial statement audit engagement was not directed towards providing an opinion on the adequacy of internal control. It was directed towards providing an opinion on the financial statements. However, we did consider internal control as a basis for designing some of our audit procedures. And based on the limited procedures we performed, our letter will indicate that we did not identify any material weaknesses in internal control. Consistent with prior years in that management letter, we do just bring to management's attention some information regarding the Municipal Garage Fund, which is an internal service fund of the city. Seeing that it is an internal service fund, it should break even on an annual basis, but that fund has historically, at least for several years, had a deficit fund balance, so we are bringing to management's attention the $1.8 million deficit fund balance in that management letter. Last but not least, we will issue a report for MIRMA on the schedule of payroll reportable to MIRMA of the city, also for 2022, in compliance with MIRMA's annual requirements for such a report. Are there any questions about this summary report specifically, or about the audit process in general? Anything I can answer this evening?
I think we have none. Amanda, thank you very much. And we'll get into this more at a later date when we get the full audit in more detail.
Okay. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you so much. Okay, next we have council concerns. First, Councilman Hinchey.
Yes, I'd like to voice a concern over the dry conditions, and also appreciation to our police force and our fire department for their diligence and their planned diligence to take care of the situation.
Councilman Seebacher?
I have none, thank you.
Okay. Councilman Stone?
Yes, just want to note that the Historic Preservation Commission will be meeting on July the 19th, and it is open to the public and open to all members of the city and the administration and the council. And then I would like to get an update on the retaining wall on 2nd Street. Just a status update of where we're at with being able to move forward on some of that renovation. And then while Mr. Bremer's here, if he could give us an update on the sidewalk project along Business 54.
Kyle Bremer, city engineer. Yes, Jeff, the retaining wall down at 2nd and Ravine by West Lakes. We have come to terms with the property owner, and we will be submitting a check to them, and so we can get that settled up, so we have the property rights to be able to solve that situation down there. So we're still working on getting those rights, but that should be tackled here, I would hope, in the next month.
And timeline of the renovation on the wall? That occurs within the next month?
I would say that will be a fall project, given all the work that we have to do on the streets that we're preparing right now, that you guys are reviewing tonight. So I think we'll be able to tackle that this fall, though.
I had a personal challenge with that intersection just last week, and then I've been notified by 2 other constituents of continued close calls and near misses at that intersection. So whatever we're able to do to resolve that and renovate that is most appreciated by the entire city.
And you had another question?
Sidewalk renovation, or sidewalk project on South 54, Business
Right,
54.
South Business 54, yes. The contractor is working down there, obviously, and they're doing work on the east side of the road. There's stormwater on that east side of the road. Stormwater boxes and pipe is generally roughed in, I would say, and they are now presently working on the edge of the road for the widening part. So they are hoping that next week, sometime middle of the week, just after July the 4th, that they will start working on some curbing. So, yeah, Christensen Construction's working diligently on it.
Thank you. That's all that I have, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, there's been no airport advisory board since our last council meeting. As far as really just appreciation, as I read through the DOA report, it was almost astounding the amount of work that our city folks have accomplished in that amount of time. Not to mention the projects Councilman Summers brought up, all of the other great things that we've accomplished in the city. So I applaud all of our city workers, all the hard work that they're doing. Also, just a word of caution with the hot weather upon us. Just make sure that the city is being conservative, having those conversations about hydrating, proper hot weather etiquette, make sure we do all our employees.
How did the open house at the airport go last Saturday? Did you get out there?
I was unable to make it
Okay.
Saturday. Kyle, were you able to make it out there to the event at the airport? I was out of town.
Okay. I was curious, with the street fair, I didn't know how many people they'd have. Okay, thank you. Councilman Combs?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Planning and Zoning Commission just had another meeting tonight about property along Business 54 South. That one it'll come to us, I believe, next meeting, but without a recommendation from them. Outside of that, I don't really have any concerns. I was pleased with how the Juneteenth celebration went. As well as just, I know a lot of city employees had a hand in that and worked on that and appreciated all that effort as well.
Okay, Councilman Washington?
None at this time, Mayor.
Councilwoman Nelson?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I would like to start by thanking the city and everybody that participated in the street fair this weekend. I think it was a really successful event. I know that I saw lots and lots of police officers down there, and that was really, really welcomed. I know that they really help us out a lot down there, and we really appreciate that. And there's so many things that the city does to make that event successful. So I just wanted to say thank you because I know that they have a huge hand in that, and it was a successful event. We did have a utility board meeting. I know last time we had talked about the water tank and that project coming in over budget. We do have a rough number, which is about $145,000 over budget. That money is going to come from the water and sewer tax account. Is that correct, Daryl? So that is money that we do have that's allocated towards that. So that's good. We're covered there. And then could you give us a Sykeston update, Daryl?
We're still working on Sykes and what we're going to do with it. As I think everybody knows, it's kind of stranded right now in the SPP market, and we're in the MISO market. So we got some more calls lined up Friday, talking with MPUA and TEA and see if we can, what our options are. we will have to do something for August, 14 days prior to August starting to purchase the SPP transmission, or if we can work something out before then. So that's where Sykeston's at right now. Kyle, do you have anything else on that water tank? Kyle worked really hard on that change order, and we kind of stuck him in the middle, to be honest with you. Utilities wasn't certain things done. Kyle had to work it out with the contractor. So I think Kyle cut a pretty good change order and let him describe what he did.
Well, the first thing that I would say is that your water department's really working well for you down there. Dave Martin, our water supervisor, has been down there. Obviously, he's tasked with operating this after it's rebuilt, and he's been down there daily interacting with those folks. And so, that change order was over $200,000, but we are able to do some of the ground piping through Dave and our employees, their expertise. So we were able to minimize that change order down to about $145,000, give or take. So that does mean that the water department's got to do a little bit more work down there, and there are some parts and pieces that they still have to obtain to make that happen. But because of Dave's efforts and stepping up with his guys, that's helped us reduce that quite a bit. So, any questions?
I appreciate all your work on that, Kyle. And with that being said, too, I know that that's a large number, but we've got to consider on these large assets in our community that we're maintaining these on a regular basis. I know that whenever we were talking in the utility board meeting yesterday, it's a lot more expensive to replace these items fully than it is to repair them. So I think that we just need to be diligent about making sure that we're budgeting each year to maintain these large assets.
I certainly agree. Also, I might add, Councilwoman Seebacher had to resign from her position on the Parks and Recs Board due to a conflict, and Councilman Washington has asked me to take her position there, and so I'm going to appoint him to that. Clay, we haven't had a Parks and Recs overview here, but I would like to, and I was very little involved today. Would you come up and tell us about the golf tournament we have now and the one coming up a little later on? This is I understand, possibly one of the bigger golf tournaments in the state.
Yeah, we're hosting Missouri Golf Association's match play tournament. It's a big tournament for them, and basically they start out with, I'm not sure if it's 64 or 32, but they start out and then they have match play where they play against each other, and then they whittle that number down to 2 on Thursday. So they'll have 2 golfers playing against each other for the championship on Thursday. So, and then we have another Missouri Golf Association youth event coming up here in a few weeks.
And I believe you told me is that the Roger Wilson
Yeah,
golf tournament?
yeah,
That's going to be a big one, I'm sure.
Yeah, Roger Wilson, he's hosting a golf tournament on July 14th, I believe.
Yeah,
So,
something like that.
So a lot of good things going on out there.
If you would you post those on the website or on the web, or at least let all the councilmen know when those big tournaments are? And I know I'll try to get out there when I can and meet and greet the golfers. I think it's great for our community. I think our motels were maybe overfilled.
Yeah.
I don't know where they were all staying, probably Columbia, I guess, but it didn't take them long to fill up ours.
Yeah, and it's a good thing for the community, definitely. Yeah, we'll keep everybody updated.
Please. Okay, thank you. Do you have any questions about that? I was out there briefly today, and gosh, there was, I think Darrell was telling me one of his high school classmates from Sykeston or down south was there playing. So they were from all over the state there. It was kind of neat. Also, I want to maybe remind you all that the next meeting, I'm having my knee replaced on July the 11th. And Deputy Mayor Seebacher will be running the meeting. I'm sure it'll go smooth. If she doesn't shoot me in the meantime, maybe, but. Councilman, what? Councilman Stone, do you have another item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. 205 South Ravine has been a very troublesome property for many, many years in that neighborhood. We've had various owners, various rentals, and that property has just been it's caused a lot of concern for that neighborhood, and I just wanted to thank the
Is that the one
city.
that's on the bank there on
That's
Schultz?
almost right there on the corner of Hockaday. It's not the property that's on the corner of Hockaday and South Ravine. It's the next two-story property. And the city has condemned it. And I just want to make sure that I say very publicly the thank you for all of the city workers. I know there were multiple departments involved on the day that it was condemned and about the week following of the cleanup and the hauling away of items from around that property and just working on that property. There were probably 5 or 6 or 7 people at any given time over 2 or 3 or 4 days continually to work on that property. And when I stopped to personally thank them, they reminded me to make sure that I thanked them publicly in this forum, because they did a heck of a job and hauled away a lot of stuff from that property. So thank you.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to resolutions. The first one will be Resolution 3497. That's the asphalt overlay with Christensen Construction. Councilman Luther, will you read that for us, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 3497, asphalt overlay contract with Christensen Construction 2023. A resolution authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Fulton, Missouri to execute a contract with Christensen Construction Company of Kingdom City, Missouri for the 2023 asphalt overlay project at an estimated value of $331,536.35 and to sign all necessary documents in relation to said contract. I make a motion to adopt resolution number 3497 at this council meeting.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Do we have any discussion on that? I think this is something we do yearly. Seeing none, all in favor of passing Resolution 3497, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll have Resolution 3498, and that's the chip seal contract, and that's with Missouri Petroleum Products, and again, that's a yearly thing we do. So presenter will be Councilman Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 3498, 2023 chip seal contract with the Missouri Petroleum Product. A resolution authorizing the mayor on the behalf of the city of Fulton to sign all necessary documents in relationship to the contract with Missouri Petroleum Product Company, LLC of St. Louis, Missouri, for the purpose of providing aggregate safe seal coat services and an estimated cost of $120,000. I make a motion to adopt resolution number 3498 at this council meeting.
Thank you, Councilman. Any discussion on that one? Seeing none, all in favor, please say
We need
aye.
a second on that. I second it.
Yeah, we had it over here. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Very good, that passed. Next, we have a grant for the fire department, and I want to add, and it says it's on here, but it's contingent with getting the grant, and that would be a great training tool, I believe. Do you want to say anything about it, Kevin?
Yes, this is a digital simulator. It's for fire extinguisher training. We will be able to take it out to our schools, our businesses, and use it for training, train them how to use fire extinguishers. Be great for public education.
Okay, very good, thank you. Councilman Combs, would you read that, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 3499, Firehouse Subs Foundation. A resolution authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Fulton, Missouri to sign all necessary documents in relation to the Firehouse Subs Foundation grant to assist in the procurement of a digital fire extinguisher training system for the city of Fulton Fire Department. I make a motion to pass resolution number 3499 at tonight's meeting.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Do we have any discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, that passed. Next, we'll have resolution number 3500. And that's a 2023 microsurfacing contract with Missouri Petroleum again. Councilman Henchy, would you read that for us, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 3500, 2023 microsurfacing contract with Missouri Petroleum Product. A resolution authorizing the mayor on behalf of the city of Fulton, Missouri to sign all necessary documents in relation to a contract with Missouri Petroleum Products Company, LLC of St. Louis, Missouri, for the purpose of providing microservicing services at a cost of not to exceed $166,200. I make a motion to adopt resolution number 3500 at this council meeting.
Motion's been made to adopt resolution 3500. Do we have a discussion on that?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, one item of discussion. Looking through the Director of Administration report, I don't have a page number, but it gives all the different streets that are involved in this project. And it's Coates-Sandesson, Collier, Randall, Penny, Julian, all of that. But I don't see Dixie Avenue listed on there. And then Glenstone is listed in the overlay bid. And I guess I'm just requesting, is there a reason why Dixie wasn't part of this project? And if there's any opportunity or any leftover, can Dixie Avenue be considered as part of this project?
Yes, Kyle Bremer, city engineer. Dixie was overlaid a couple of years ago. It hasn't been very long, so it's in good shape. So there wasn't any need to spend the money to do that on Dixie. So that's why we weren't proposing to chip seal Dixie, because it was in good shape.
Okay, and that was all the way from one end to the other?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Okay, again, we have a motion and a second for resolution 3500. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you. Now we have resolution 3501, and that's the purchase of 2 command vehicles for the Fulton Fire Department. These are surplus vehicles, and, you know, I've dealt with those many, many years. And I think they'll be sufficient for what the fire department certainly needs. Councilwoman Seebacher, would you read that, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 3501, purchase of 2 command vehicles for the Fulton Fire Department. A resolution authorizing the mayor, on behalf of the city of Fulton, Missouri, to sign all necessary documents for the purchase of 2 command vehicles from the Missouri State Highway Patrol surplus fleet for the city of Fulton Fire Department in the amount of $65,600 to be paid from the use tax restricted fund. I make a motion to adopt Resolution 3501 at tonight's council meeting.
Second?
Okay, the motion been made and second. Kevin, you want to?
These vehicles, right now, my assistant chief and myself, we're out on the highways in personal vehicles. It's a safety concern. We'll be able to run incident command out of these vehicles as well when we're on incidents. So it's kind of a big safety issue as well when you're on the highway with no lights and traffic. They never slow down out there. So. We went over and looked at both of these vehicles, and they were both in good shape and had good service records, and I think we could get several years out of them.
And you put a hold on those vehicles, right?
Yes, they're on hold.
Okay.
And this price for the vehicles, is that fully equipped with all the equipment, lighting, or is this that stuff to be extra?
One of the vehicles fully equipped, and the second vehicle will have to get lights put on. And we have the radios right now that we can install in them. So we'll have to equip one.
Just looking at the price, I mean, when I think surplus, I think savings, but didn't really ring savings to me when I looked at cars.com and some other websites on the similar vehicles. So I didn't know how much we've shopped around versus just going to the surplus, or can we buy locally? What other options maybe we have looked at for a service vehicle that would fit your needs?
We've went on the internet and looked, and there's not a lot of the command vehicles out there that we haven't researched new ones yet. 'Cause, we felt like these were pretty decent vehicles that could, whenever we rotate these vehicles out, we'll get new ones.
Chief
But,
Cofield, could you let the council people know exactly what type of vehicles you're purchasing?
Okay, one is a 2020 Ford Explorer, and one is a 2019 Dodge Durango, and they both have like 64,000 miles on them.
Chief Cofield, what components are required for a command vehicle as far as minimum?
Just a good radio system. I have room in the back to run a command board. We'll put a command board in the back of them. Just kind of keeps your command in one area, so you're not moving around. You have your equipment kind of away from the scene, so you can actually hear.
Just to kind of elaborate more on Councilman Luther's questions or concerns, what are the benefits to purchasing from Missouri Surplus as opposed to a private company?
I really didn't research the.
I think I can answer that for you.
Okay.
Those vehicles are made for high-speed driving, and their suspension is a lot heavier. And so if they're going to be running code, for instance, those are much, much safer vehicles. And there's been regular vehicles that officers, I don't know about firemen, but officers have had accidents in and have been successfully sued because, or the city or county has, because they didn't provide them with vehicles that were made for pursuit driving.
And I'd like to jump in on there, Chief, and you're absolutely right. Pursuit rating is not the same as what you would purchase off of a regular cars.com or anything like that.
No.
Also, even used, brand new, you're probably looking at about a $50,000 investment. That does not include upfits or anything of the sort. So the fact that they found 2 vehicles for $65,000 and one is actually upfit with lights and the sirens, that is a steal. And I'm sorry, I'm pulling out my fleet hat right now, but it is not, and this is going back 10 years ago, a fully upfitted police vehicle when I used to do that, would run, and this was Charger, it would run close, it was $53,000. So, and again, pursuit rated, because we don't want non-pursuit rated vehicles, just like the chief said, you get in trouble with that.
Thanks for that information.
The Ford, I have no problem, but the Durango, I'm not sure. The maintenance on the Durango is kind of shoddy from what I heard, from time past.
Right, we checked the service records, and they've been good so far. I understand what you're saying when you buy a used vehicle. There is concerns there.
I will say the Highway Patrol maintains their vehicles very well. In fact, other state highway patrols will come in and want their cars the seconds because they do maintain them very well.
And these vehicles will be ran through their shop and detailed. Anything that's wrong with them, they will take care of.
When it comes to the service vehicles, I know you said one was a 2024. Does that come with any sort of like warranty that we can get with it? How does that work?
I know there will not be any warranty on them. The mileage is done passed for warranties.
Chief Cofield, these vehicles, do they have a increased or elevated amperage level so that they can handle the equipment?
Yeah.
Are they?
They have a larger amp, you're talking about?
Because a lot of the equipment that he was talking about for command, I would imagine requires a lot more amperage, so a regular car would not be able to handle that.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't.
Yes,
They do have bigger amps on them.
They're used public safety vehicles, so they've been equipped before, so
And they have bigger water pumps normally because they're sitting running a lot without being moving. And so the water pumps are usually bigger, I think, and probably Chief Ladwig could probably speak to that better. He's a car guy, but a lot of the equipment is a lot bigger than a normal vehicle. Any further questions? Okay. Resolution 3501 has been made in second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Okay, we move to ordinances. We have second reading ordinances. Councilman Henshey, would you read bill number 1680?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bill number 1680, repeal and enacting of Fulton City Code, Section 110-358, zones, fees, an ordinance repealing Section 110-358, zones and fees of the Fulton City Code, and enacting a new section in lieu thereof and establishing an effective date. I make a motion to place bill number 1680 for the third reading at the next regularly scheduled council meeting.
If I can ask for clarity on that, did you want it at the next council meeting, or did you want to do third reading for tonight?
You want to read third reading tonight?
Okay, then I would like to amend my motion then. I'd like to make a motion to place bill number 1680 for the third reading at this council meeting.
Thank you.
Very good. Do I have a second? I think we discussed this, I believe, already. Does anybody have any questions about it? Seeing none, all in favor of advancing this to the third reading tonight, please say yes.
Yes.
Oppose? Very good. I'm just looking at the camera. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, there we go. All right, Councilman, would you read that for the third time, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bill number 1680, repeal and enacting of the Fulton City Code, section 110358, zones, fees, and ordinance repealing section 110358, zones, fees of the Fulton City Code, and enacting a new section in lieu thereof and establishing an effective date. I make a motion to place bill number 1680 for final passage at this council meeting.
Second.
Very good. We've had a motion and second for the passage of bill number 1680 for the third reading. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Madam Clerk, would you like a roll call?
Yes, sir. Mr. Hinchey?
Aye.
Mr. Luther?
Yes.
Ms. Nelson? Yes. Ms. Reclus, excused. Ms. Sabacher?
Yes.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Washington?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
7 affirmative.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to bill number 1681, and that is the tax collection for the county, and we have a date set to meet with them and discuss whatever issue they have. I'm not sure what that is. I could only guess. So we have agreed, or we will agree to, for a one-year contract, and then we'll discuss the future of this. So, Councilwoman Seebacher, would you read number 1681?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'll do the second and third reading tonight as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bill number 1681, Callaway County Tax Collection Agreement amended, an ordinance repealing Ordinance 1622-23 and authorizing the mayor and the city clerk on behalf of the city of Fulton, Missouri, to sign all necessary documents in relation to a limited-time contract with the collector and the county commissioners of Callaway County, Missouri, relating to the collection of taxes with the contract period commencing upon approval through June 2024. I'll make a motion to place bill number 1681 for third reading at tonight's council meeting.
Second?
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. Second for the passage of Bill 1681 to third reading at tonight's meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Councilwoman, do you read it again?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, there's a lot of Cs in this one. Bill number 1681, Callaway County Tax Collection Agreement amended, an ordinance repealing Ordinance 1622-23 and authorizing the mayor and the city clerk on behalf of the city of Fulton, Missouri, to sign all necessary documents in relation to a limited-time contract with the collector and county commissioners of Callaway County, Missouri, relating to the collection of taxes with the contract period commencing upon approval through June of 2024. I make a motion to place Bill 1681 for final passage at tonight's council meeting.
Second.
Okay, we had a third reading and motion and second. Madam Clerk, would you do a voice
Yes, sir.
vote, please?
Mr. Luther?
Yes. We have to vote on the motion.
Thank you. We need to take a vote on the motion first, sir.
All in favor of motion 1681, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. Good catch. Mr. Luther?
Yes.
Ms. Nelson? Yes. Ms. Sabacher?
Yes.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Washington? Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Hingy?
Yes.
7 council members. Affirmative.
Okay, very good. Now we'll have Bill 1682, and that's the rezoning of Tennyson Road, and this will be the second reading on this motion. Councilman Stone, would you read that for us?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Bill number 1682, rezoning Tennyson Road, 23.18 acre tract from Agriculture 1 to Residential 2. An ordinance reclassifying under the zoning code an unimproved 23.18 acre tract of land located on the north side of Tennyson Road, just south of Willow Creek subdivision, Willow Creek South, in Fulton, Missouri, and establish an effective date. I make a motion to move bill number 1682 for third reading at tonight's meeting.
Very good. We have a motion and second to move Bill 1682 to third reading at tonight's meeting. All in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Councilman, will you read it again for us?
Yes. Bill number 1682, rezoning Tennyson Road, 23.18 acre tract from Agriculture 1 to Residential 2, an ordinance reclassifying under the zoning code an unimproved 23.18 acre tract of land located on the north side of Tennyson Road, just south of Willow Creek subdivision, Willow Creek South, in Fulton, Missouri, and establishing an effective date. I make a motion to move Bill number 1682 for final passage at tonight's meeting.
We have a motion and second to move to to final reading, Bill number 1682. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Madam Clerk?
Ms. Nelson? Yes. Ms. Seebacher?
Yes.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Washington? Mr. Combs? Yes. Mr. Hinchey?
Yes.
Mr. Luther?
Yes.
7 members affirmative.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now we'll have Bill number 1683, and that's another rezoning of a tract of land down in that area. Councilwoman Nelson, would you read that for us?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Bill number 1683, rezoning Tennyson Road, 4.92 acre tract, A1 to C2, an ordinance reclassifying under the zoning code an unimproved 4.92 acre tract of land located on the north side of Tennyson Road, just south of Willow Creek subdivision, Willow Creek South, in Fulton, Missouri, and establishing an effective date. I make a motion, we place Bill number 1683 for third reading at the next regularly scheduled council meeting.
Second.
Very good. We've got a motion and second to move Bill 1683 to final reading tonight. What? Oh, you said next council meeting? Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. You tripped me up there. Good job. Okay. All in favor of moving this to the next council meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay. Kyle, have you heard anything on what they intend to do with the zoning that we turned down for them? Okay. I don't know if they were going to try again or what they were going to do. Oh, you haven't? That was 2 weeks ago.
Wait, are you talking about these guys or the other guys?
These guys. No, I'm talking about these guys. Okay, the next council meeting is going to be July the 11th. And unfortunately, while you all are in council meeting, I'll be probably sleeping or have some kind of drugs that I don't know where I am even. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and second to adjourn. All in favor? Very good. Thank all of you.